Well, hello, welcome. I'm Ben Jennings, and I'm here today with Grant Skelton and Damon Sarnes. And we're going to talk today about all things Sunday school and assimilation. You guys know Damon. He's one of our interns. Grant's one of the newest members of our team. And Grant, your title, right, is Outreach and Assimilation.
Assimilation, yeah.
So
yeah.
I think you should know something about this topic.
That's right, yes.
So today we're the truth of the matter is we're just going over this content because this is going to be what we talk about in our April 412 meeting on 412.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. We're talking about assimilation. We just had a great Easter Sunday, didn't we?
Yes. It was awesome. We had 36 people give us their personal information. 4 people marked salvation. 3 interested in church. 3 interested in Sunday school. So it was a successful day.
It was awesome. It was a great day. Attendance was good,
yeah.
And God's really worked in. So that the cool part about what we're about to do over the next few months is trying to reach out to those people, among others, and trying to assimilate them. That's a weird. Some people even say it's like a Star Trek term. I've had people I was called the assimilation pastor at my last church. Did you ever watch Star Trek, Damon?
Never.
Not one time. You've never watched it.
I've seen it. I haven't seen an episode.
You've seen
Star
cultural
Trek.
references to it in the thing. For some reason, there's something about that. Somebody like assimilate is some word that's there.
Okay, yeah.
So whenever I had that title given to me at Canton, all the Star Trek nerds would come out like, "Oh, you're assimilation."
Well, even my mom, she's kind of old school, and she's like, "What is an assimilation pastor?"
Correct. So that's a good segue into like what our topic is. As Sunday school class leaders, we can use the spring and summertime, which is the season we're entering into, to grow our classes through assimilation. And we do that by taking 4 actions. So the first action that we're trying to get people to take, even by watching this video, is to think about assimilation and what that means for the Sunday school class. So the 4 actions are this. Number 1, thinking assimilation through relationships. So what's assimilation? Could you define it for us? What are we talking about?
Yeah. I mean, to make it as simple as possible, we're talking about taking an individual who is not connected and bringing them into the church family, making an individual a part of the whole.
Right. So becoming a part of the whole.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And so really assimilation is like that conveyor belt that moves them from that, where they're the guests, they're the individual who just walked through our doors.
They attended one time.
But we want to get them on that conveyor belt and move them through that process so that they become an active, functioning, growing part of our church body.
Right. And it's clear, it's pretty obvious that like that's a decision they have to make.
Right.
But we have to help them make that, to take them that step, they have to know that step's possible and be encouraged to do it, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, really, assimilation sounds kind of like a business term, but it really is the gospel. It's the Great Commission.
Right.
Because again, person walks on our campus, comes to our service, we want them to hear the gospel, accept Christ as their Savior.
Right.
There's baptism, there's discipleship, there's again, teaching them how to be a self-feeder, read God's word, pray on their own, get them plugged in, serving.
Right.
It's that whole discipleship pathway, and assimilation is really kind of the term given to moving the person through that. And
Sunday school is important in that because, and I know we're jumping ahead here on the notes, but it's important in that because like if they're going to do any of those more difficult things, like, Jesus says, if any man will follow me, let him take up his cross, deny himself, and follow me. There's got to be a connection, a sense of belonging that happens before they'll even consider doing that. For us to even begin to have those kind of conversations, they've got to be able to feel like there's somebody here that knows me and cares about me, and really that we have influence. Like we have to influence people, and so there has to be a connection for there to be influence, right?
Right. Yeah. So I use the term conveyor belt, but really the conveyor belt is people.
Yeah.
It's that human touch. It's that personal connection by somebody who has already gone down that path. They know the Lord. They're active. They're serving, and they're coming alongside that person, and through those relationships, that is the conveyor belt that moves people along the maturing process.
That's very good. So it's pretty obvious. It's always been the case that like that, the way that ministry happens, it happens through relationships, right? That's the bridge, right? The relationships are really important. So somebody knows me, I know them. That's all part of like becoming part of the whole. Why is Sunday school such a big part of that? Like, because you could say, well, that happens. True, this is true, right? That happens in every step of our pathway. You know, we have congregation, community, core, commission. You know, someone becoming a part of us happens at some level. You know, this individual becoming a part of the whole happens when somebody shows up to church for the first time. That's a step towards getting to know us, building a relationship. Right. So why is that community step? Why is Sunday school important in that process?
Well, Sunday school really breaks it down into the small group. Right. And a person is less likely to connect in an auditorium with 350 people. Right. You take them to a room where it's 10, 15, 20 people. Right. There are activities that the Sunday school class can do. There's outreach, there's home visitation. There's a lot of ways where the relationship goes from just a casual, hey, how are you doing this week, to actually that real bridge of becoming a friend, getting to know people, and in that process, God using you to help move them along. Every week when I'm preaching and I see like a crowd of 300 people there are people that I'm seeing that I don't know, right? And they walk in like as it's starting, or maybe even after it started, and then they like walk out. Right. And every week there's some couple, some family, some individual that I'm like, I don't know that person. Right. And then they leave and you're like, wow, like, and there are literally people that I've been in churches and I've seen them for weeks on end, but because they come right in at the service time and they leave right away, there's no ability to assimilate. Yeah, there's no way the pastor can jump off the platform and come and meet every guest every Sunday. So like a person can come and consume the content, and I don't mean that in a bad way. That's good. We want that to happen. We want there to be a crowd that comes and is part of the congregation. But like every week they're there. I know, Damon, you do this a lot. Like the Sunday school is helpful even in that sense, because you're the young adults guy, and so you've been tasked with leading that, and so your senses are like, I've watched it happen in you. You've went from kind of casual to like very intentional about, oh, there's somebody in the service that's my people because I'm responsible for young adults. Yeah. Right. Yeah, so like even in that, how has that kind of motivated you even in the Sunday in the worship service? Well, I know that I have a target to reach towards. I know that I have a group of people that I'm ministering to specifically. Right. And so as I'm singing in the choir or doing the welcome or whatever, when I get to look at the whole crowd, I'm like, same thing, like, oh, I don't know that guy, I don't know that guy. And the difference is I'm not on the stage when the sermon ends. I actually have the ability to leave 30 seconds before the sermon ends, to be at a door. To look for people. Yeah, to look for people. I also have a group of people that I am ministering to and telling them, hey, you guys can do the same thing. Sometimes I'll text somebody like, hey, there's a person 2 rows behind you. Yeah. Make sure you talk to them. And the other thing is texting in your sermon. The other thing, I really wish you would listen and come forward at the end. But no, the other part of that, Damon, too, is that, and this is subtle. Like this has to be Sunday school as an organization, not just an event. But because you have owned it like that, you actually know the people that are in the crowd that you already know. The only way you know the people that you don't know who are new is because you already have owned the people that you do know, and your people do too. Yeah. So when those people, because they know each other, know that there's someone there that doesn't know, that's important, right? Yeah. Well, and there's people, like I know the people who come every Sunday morning at 9:30 who are in the Sunday school class, but I also know the people who, a lot of them who don't come to Sunday school class, but they should be in there. They could be, right? Yeah, like
they could be in there. We should be ministering to those people, and
you're committed to them before they commit to you.
Yeah,
and that's what assimilation takes, right?
I've seen that actually pay off a lot recently, where couples who I've been trying to talk to on a weekly basis who never come to Sunday school class are starting to come to Sunday school class, and the class is ministering to people who haven't been there, but they are a part of the class to some degree, and that's awesome to see.
That's fantastic. So, recently came across again for another time, and actually went and sourced where I got the information from. Yeah. Tom Rainier, who did a really big study. Can you kind of like summarize like what he found in terms of like the power of Sunday school with assimilation?
Yeah. So really statistics are on the side of a church having an assimilation process and small group Sunday school classes. He found that when a church uses their Sunday school for assimilation, 86% of the people who come as those first-time guests, 5 years later, who've been assimilated through a Sunday school program are still there.
Right.
If you switch that out and go to a church that does not use Sunday school as an assimilation process, only 16% of those first-time guests are still there 5 years later.
So, like, you took the same group. He took the same group, even in the same church, and he said, okay, actually, it was a bunch of churches.
Yeah.
And they did a 5-year study, and they said, okay, here's the group of people. Yeah. These are the ones that got into a Sunday school class, and these are the ones that didn't.
Did not, right? Yeah.
So there's 100% of both groups.
Right.
And he said essentially, after 5 years, 86% of the people that got into a Sunday school class were still at the church. Yeah. As a point of 16%
who did not did not get in a Sunday school class.
So that would be 1 out of 6 stayed versus 5 out of 6 stayed. Essentially, I mean, my math may be off, but so that's gigantic.
Yeah,
I want the 5 out of 6, right? So, some may question: is it because the people that are willing to take this step are more connecty people and more committed, and so they're willing to stay, or is it that the step itself caused them to be more sticky? And I think yes. It's a yes answer, right?
I think there's like a biblical basis for this too. If you go back to like Andrew, and when he wanted Peter, his brother, to follow Christ, he didn't say, hey, there's Jesus over there, you go and listen to him.
He took him.
He said, come with me, let's go together. Again, that the importance of relationship and people being the bridge.
That's really good. I think also, like, to the point that we were just making with Damon, when Jesus invested in those 12 guys, the leaders, that wasn't the only 12 that he invested in. There was 120, right? And there was 3 that he invested in even more than the 12. And on the day of Pentecost, they ministered after Jesus was actually gone in terms of physical. But then it says that as many as received his word in that large group proclamation were baptized, and the same day 3,000 souls were added to the church, and they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine, fellowship, breaking of bread, and prayers. Well, I think that was as much a commitment from the 120 as it was from the 3,000. There was it was both. Like, they could, if someone wasn't willing to receive the ministry, they wouldn't. And of course, those were people that had just gotten saved, just gotten indwelt by the Holy Spirit. But the point is, the 120 were prepared. The 12 were prepared. The 3 were prepared to be intentional with those 120.
And basically, they're assimilating.
They're
working those people that came through that discipleship process.
Right. I would say that, like, you're like, well, aren't you big on discipleship? I think you can't disciple someone who is not becoming a part of the whole.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So they're not in competition. Like, it's really steps on the. It's really kind of really a description of the whole process of discipleship at different levels. But we're really focused on with Sunday school that, like, that next step, probably the first step. If they don't get involved in a Sunday school class, there's likely not going to have they're going to have a hard time getting involved in the discipleship,
absolutely,
kind of part of it too. So the whole point of this first action is that these are based on relationships. You can't just programmatically tell people what to do. You got to come with me. Let's connect. Let's do that together. So if Sunday school is important in that, then what's the next action they could take? We wrote it down here is making class time aim at assimilation. So we're looking at the summer. We're looking at the spring. We've had these guests that are coming. And by the way, they're coming every week. Praise the Lord, right? And we're always trying to get them involved. And they're coming in all shapes and sizes, all age demographics. Right. There's teens, there's kids, there's families, there's singles, there's old people, there's young people. So Sunday school helps us to do that. Let's talk about Sunday school, the event. How can a class use their time, their class time, the event called Sunday school at 9:30? How can they use that for assimilation?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think this is
that important?
It's very important. Just by the name itself, Sunday school, people kind of think of Sunday school as a place to get information.
Right.
And that is important.
Yeah.
We at TBC, we teach, and that's very important, and we minister. But I think the goal or the role of an assimilation pastor is to try to help constantly emphasize and enforce the idea that the Sunday school is not just about teaching a lesson.
Right.
It's about designing an hour in the morning before the main service to assimilate.
Right.
And so you're not only thinking about your lesson, but you're thinking about, number one, I need to get there early. People, guests are going to be coming in, and I want to be on time, and I'm coming ready to connect. I'm looking for people. So you're arriving early, you're being proactive, walking around the classroom, greeting people. And as leaders, whether you're a teacher or care group leader, you're modeling that for your whole class.
Right.
Again, teachers don't need to feel like it's only their responsibility to assimilate.
Right.
It's all of ours.
Yeah.
Every mature member at TBC has that responsibility. So you're arriving early, you're being proactive at greeting, you're trying to connect, introducing people maybe that sit close to the guest.
Right. I had someone recently tell me that they were really, really thankful that it was actually two basically brand new people to our church coming to my class, and they sat behind, in front of each other, behind each other. And I had already met both of them, but they hadn't met each other. And I just said, hey, can I introduce you to the person right behind you?
Right.
And they both independently came to me later and was like, dude, I was so glad I met this person. And this is something he said in class that really helped me. But it's one thing to connect to the teacher, but it's also important that they connect to each other. And that was two guests connecting to each other, essentially.
Right.
And they're still coming.
Yeah.
So that's it's critical.
Yeah, just an atmosphere of connecting.
Right.
There's energy, there's conversation going on in the room.
But Grant, here's the thing. It sounds like you really don't care about Bible teaching. You're coming in and you're trying to get us to stop teaching the Bible. What's your deal? I thought you were into Sunday school.
Right.
What's your problem? Why are you saying that's not what you're saying, right?
No.
Okay.
I will we give an hour, basically 50 minutes for Sunday school, and we definitely want a majority of that time to be time in the Word.
Right.
That God's Word is powerful. It's going to change lives. But you have to prepare the heart to hear the Word.
Right.
And if a person is brand new and they're sitting in a class, they don't know anyone, they're nervous, their hearts, the soil of their heart is not going to be quite as tilled up and ready for the seed. So really that connecting so that it's a warm, inviting place where they have made relationships, that's really preparing their heart to hear the Word.
And the environment kind of affects that, right? Because when somebody comes into a 300-person service, they don't have expectations that the pastor's going to come meet me, or there may be some of that, but it's definitely lowered compared to when they walk into a class. If they walk into a class of 15 people and no one talks to them, that's way more offensive than if they walked into a group of 300 people and nobody talked to them.
Absolutely.
We don't want people not to be greeted in either case, but it's even more important, of course. It's even more important in that in that smaller group because it's so much more obvious that it needs to happen.
So, just, we're all used to going to the worship service, and the choir and the singing is all there to warm the heart and prepare it for your preaching, the message. But in a Sunday school class, it's that welcoming, the conversation, just a warm environment that prepares people for the lesson.
And speaking of the lesson, the lesson can also be assimilating.
Absolutely.
In that you can teach the Bible to people, or you can teach people the Bible. So we wrote down here, teach the lesson to the people you have. Why? What do we mean by that, and why is Sunday school so effective at that?
Yeah, well, one of the things we do here is we have age-graded, life stage divided Sunday schools.
Right.
And so like Damon was saying, he's the young adult 2 Sunday school teacher. It helps him target in who he's trying to reach.
Right.
His class has a lot of singles.
Right.
Young marrieds. That's a very clear life stage place that their discipleship needs are going to be a little bit different than somebody who's in their 50s, 60s, or whatever the life stage is.
And even it's also probably a spiritual stage, because they're younger. Damon, like in your particular situation, you have a lot of very new believers. Like you have a lot of young people that haven't. You say, hey, you know about Jonah, and some of them don't literally know about Jonah, right? Like that's part of it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the people that we have in our class right now just got saved in the last 2-3 years. Some of them in the last few weeks.
That's amazing. Praise the Lord.
Yeah, and it's definitely different than when I'm talking to somebody who's I meet some people on Wednesday night who I'm like, wow, these guys know more than I do.
Right.
And
that's true. The truth of the matter is that like a teacher can discern that in his own class, meaning it's not like everybody in the senior citizens class has walked with the Lord for 40 years.
Right.
Or not everybody in the median class is killing it at marriage. Like, you can get to know people and know kind of their needs. And because you're not dealing with 300, you're dealing with 30, it makes that more doable. Your problem with your marriage, like we talked about that. You don't want to bring that up in the class time, but you can be aware as to who you have and how they'll receive it. And that is a part of making them a part of the whole. Like, there's people like me that are dealing with the same stuff.
The thing I think is very exciting is that I have people who are, a level or 2 or 3 or 5 levels ahead of a brand new believer. And I get to tell them, or like kind of teach to them, hey, this is what we should be doing
with these others
for other people, right? Somebody came along and taught you, and you may not have the ability to teach them everything that they could ever need to know,
right?
But you have the ability to affect their lives and be a good influence on their lives for the Lord.
So we're understanding what assimilation is. We're making class time aim at it. Here's a third one: planning activities. And this is where like it's summer. Yeah, I'm wearing short sleeves. I'm excited. I'm so weird. Plan activities that start and build relationships.
Yeah.
Okay. Like how are activities? You're like, man, you want us to do more than just class time?
Yeah.
So talk about that. How can that help with assimilation?
Yeah. Well, obviously, people come to church, they're expecting to get taught. They're not just here only to hang out.
Right.
Activities get people outside of the church, get them in a setting where they're more open to connect and build relationships. And again, nice warm weather is the perfect opportunity to have activities.
Right.
Not just for the point of getting your class members who've been there a long time together, which though that is important.
Yeah,
that's important that we fellowship. But looking at activities as an opportunity to, again, help that assimilation process. Who are the prospects? Who are new folks?
And by assimilation, what you're saying is connection and relationships.
Yeah,
that's what you mean.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, just looking at this summer as an opportunity as a class to come together, plan some activities. They can be simple. They don't have to be grand and elaborate, but a grill, a backyard, some meat on the grill, good food, and invite the class for sure, but be thinking who are some of these guests that have come to our church that they need to be assimilated, or again, we reach, teach, and minister through our Sunday school. You can be the first connection with a person. Maybe there's somebody in your life that you've invited them to the Easter service year after year and they've not come. But they'll come eat some ribs in your backyard.
Hospitality is a huge deal.
Absolutely.
I think it is even in our culture, and it was in the first century. I think that I think you can think differently about activities than just the one idea of our whole class is going to do something as a class, as an activity. You can also think of things like, hey, we're going to talk to your wife, talk to, as a class leader, can we invite 2 couples out after church on Sunday? Can we have somebody over this weekend? We're going to go to this concert. What if we invited them to do and what you're doing is you're injecting time, because that's a huge important thing. Like if you don't spend time with people, you're not going to have a connection, and you're also injecting a connection. You're like you just said, you're changing the environment. It's not sitting in a row, even in a Sunday school class. It's maybe driving an hour away to a concert. It's doing something, but even with that, being intentional about, we're not just trying to have fun. I want to get to know these people. What do you think about that?
Yeah. When I just think, again, summer is the perfect time. A lot of people think, summer, people are going to be traveling, they're on vacation, and we're not going to be able to do...
So all these Sunday school people calling.
That's right. They're excited. They're ready to have a busy summer. They're thinking the summer is going to be a dead time for the church, when in actuality, it's the opposite. Almost every weekend, Friday comes, we're going to want to go out to eat, go somewhere. Don't do it alone. Think of who can I bring?
Who can I do that along with? So, let's just say this as a list. We're kind of coming up on, this is going to be a longer video, but what are some of the best practices for activities that assimilate?
Use your activities as an opportunity to contact prospects. Your class. We just did this with Easter, and it was awesome. Our classes, they went through their roles. We did a 100% contact of roles and prospects. And
now, if somebody had something for their class, where that the next kind of contact, we went and said, hey, thanks for coming to, this is what we do on visitation. I was out Tuesday. I went to a couple's house that had come to the church. They loved the services. I took them a gift, said, we'd love to have you back. I found out their church background, that kind of a thing. But now it's kind of like, okay, I hope they come back. So what's one more thing we could do? Well, if somebody in their life stage called them and said, hey, we're having we have this Sunday school class. We'd love you to come to class time. And here in the next month, we have this coming up.
It just gives you that excuse to contact them. And it's like the shaking the fruit tree. You shake the fruit tree and some fruit falls, but some stays in the tree. You come back a day later, shake it again. Some fruit falls, some stays in the tree. Damon's class, you guys have been awesome at this. They're just about every month they're planning an activity.
Trying.
It gives them a reason to contact people.
So this is kind of funny because the next two, use them as an excuse for contacting. That's what you said. Make sure they're good. People don't want to come to a bad activity, and then also make sure they match your people. So, can you speak to you're doing some activities with your class?
This month we're doing a trivia night. Which was one of the people that I kind of look at as a leader in the class's idea. And I thought it was a good idea, so we're doing that. It'll give people. Not everybody is an athlete, Not everybody wants to play 5-on-5 pickup basketball with the class. So doing different things that people actually said they want to do is one of the keys, and making sure if you want a bunch of people there. I think something that I've always thought to be the case is that there needs to be food.
Absolutely. That's right. Food is the great inviter thing. But if you feed them, they will come.
Yeah, I've been kind of thinking about it differently in the sense of like we have events to reach, teach, and to minister to people. So I've been looking at events even broader. Like this event is a reach event. Like this is for somebody to come to. We're gonna give them food for free. We're gonna give them a prize if they win. It's something that they want or that they may want to do, and it's not all Bible trivia, although I'll do a devotion, I'll have Bible in there, but it'll be trivia that people that don't go to church also might know.
That's awesome.
That would be good. And then I think the best event that we've had recently was just our prayer time for Easter. There was only 10 people there, but it was a teaching moment, and I got to pray with them, and I feel like our bond was better. We hung out after, and it was just very
and it primed organic. People for thinking about people and getting with God about people, which is great. When I was a youth pastor, I always thought that like I was kind of a jock, and I know it's hard to believe that, but I was kind of a jock in high school, so like I was really into sports and stuff like that. And when I became a youth pastor, all the kids I had were gamers. Like they were all like kind of nerdy, and it's like, so I had to like I got an Xbox Live account, and I started like doing some of that stuff, and it was not my favorite thing. I'd rather be playing ball with the team, but you just had to deal with the people you had, you know what I mean? So that's part of it. We put on here too, let us help you. And I think what I was going to say to the teachers in our church specifically is that maybe you're not like maybe you feel like maybe you're not the greatest at like making graphics, or maybe that, like that's not your cup of tea, like coming up with invitations, but we've got a printer. We've got you and Corey and people that it does not take us long to make like literally like physical invitations.
Absolutely.
And also like that can become digital, where you can text, you can email. You've got Realm Connect, where you have everybody's phone number and email address, so like an address, so like if you don't have access to Realm, get with us, because we can get you that connection so that you can do what it takes. I would also say and that kind of leads us to this last thing. The fourth thing we can do is recruit leaders to facilitate relationships. I kind of think about people like a Lego, and like you as the teacher, like, you know, on the Lego, you have those like, what would be knobs? What do you call those? Like the little things that stick up. Yeah. You know, you only have so many. What's that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called.
Prong? I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. The point is, Legos, when you put, it's like it's the thing that holds them together. Nodule. The connector, the nodule. But the point is, on any particular box, some people are like a Lego that has a bunch. Yeah. And some people are like a Lego that has less, and that's you know, we all have capacities, right? But like the only way that you really can exponentially grow your ability to connect is to
have more Legos.
Get more leaders. So can you speak to that?
Yeah, well, again, teachers don't feel like it's your job to do everything.
Right.
I think a really healthy Sunday school class has somebody or even a group of people that they are tasked with the job of planning activities. Right. And again, like you've already mentioned, we're here to help with that. Right. And can work with those people. Right. So I think that's a big part is sharing the load, just like you say, put more Legos out there that can make those connections.
I think there's a progress in that too, like where that, like if you get, like you say, I don't have anybody that's willing to take on the role of it. Well, start with the task. Yeah. So like if someone in your class would be willing to show up early to an activity and help you set up tables, or would be willing to open their home, their backyard, you know, it's more of like a task. It's a one-time thing before they'll take on the role of it's my job to plan and execute the activities. Start with, can you just help with one? Can you help me do one? And then like that, taking on a task, owning the task could lead to owning the role. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. Instead of asking someone to be a care group leader, ask them, can you just call this one person this week? Right. And then if they're getting good at that and they get a taste for it, then you can go, hey, you're making this. What if you just kept up with this group of 5 people? Right. So you're going from a task to a role. And I think that's a progress that you can make in that.
So, I mean, we've talked a lot about activities. but also too, again, just for that general assimilation process, having care group leaders, people that you can help you contact the class, help you, with that touch. Because again, just like you as a pastor, you're not going to be able to touch 350 people on a Sunday morning. Even a Sunday school teacher, once you get a bigger class of 20, 30 people, it's going to be hard for you alone to make that touch on a consistent basis.
The number of knobs you have
connector pins.
You looked it up.
Connector pins.
The number of connector pins you have on your Lego is by definition finite.
Absolutely.
It is not infinite, right? Some people may be more extroverted, or like us, we get the privilege of having more time because this is what we think about, this is what we do. So our time allows us to have more capacity. But the truth of us, none of us are infinite.
Absolutely.
And so we've got, and by the way, that's kind of what we're called to, right? He gave some apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, teachers for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry.
Absolutely.
There are more people that need to be reached than any one of us can reach.
Yeah.
And I'm at the point where there's more people showing up than we can even deal with unless we help equip people. And I think Sunday school is the way to equip people to assimilate, which is on the process towards discipleship. The good news is people can belong before they believe.
That's right.
And so if we can help them belong and then believe and then grow and then minister.
Absolutely.
What a great process that is.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're here, Grant.
Wow. Well, thank you. I'm glad I'm here.
I'm glad you're here, Damon.
Yeah.
And I think these things are already happening. Teacher, we're not giving you this content, and we won't give this content to you on Sunday because we think this isn't happening. Absolutely. It already is happening. We're just going like, okay, let's be intentional by saying out loud what it is we're trying to do. People think of Sunday school as this event and this lesson. Yeah. And that is part of it. There's no doubt. But it's really about people. Yeah. Right? When we get to heaven, we'll all be perfect and understand understand all the things we're learning. We're trying to reach people. That's what God's called us to do. Very good. Well, thanks, teachers. Have a good one.